What's going on, people? So something's going on with my camera, but as long as you can hear me, I guess that's good. And the flash is not really. Oh, well, there it is. So just waiting for someone to get in here, at least one person or more. Um, Driving through Hurricane Milton. At least the weather of it. We haven't gotten, I guess, the middle section, right, the eye, to where I'm driving through. But from Sanford down to Orlando Lake, Nona area down there. And I'm telling you that the car's a bit shaky. Winds are, kind of like any other thunderstorm that comes by. So nothing too crazy. But by the time it leaves from where it's at right now, which is the Gulf Coast, it went on land now. But by the time it gets to inland, right, the areas over here, if you're in Orlando or the surrounding areas around there inland, you're not really going to experience the monster category 5 hurricane that they scared everybody with. And when you saw the news, if you really looked at their projection and the cone and the models and everything that they provide, it's at least I think it's pretty easy to read and see what they're doing, especially with clicks and views and things like that today. That's what they want. We got the story first. Come here and watch it because we put category 5 monster hurricane. And they got to really be careful when they do things like that because it can cause people to be put in what I would say bad situations. I mean, stuff happened at the gas station, not with me, but with other people. Um, other situations can take place due to these people put on the media. And for those that don't know any better, and for those that really just believe everything that they're hearing from these people on the news, um, you have to use comprehension. You have to really evaluate what you're looking at, what you're reading, what they're telling you, because they do the most. Like, I don't know how else to say it. They do the most, and they have an agenda. And by what I mean by an agenda is simply a plan in place. And their plan in place for what they do in their field is we have the story first, come here, click, click, click. Because everything today is click, click, click. Most people are watching it more on their phone, online, through social media outlets than they are on TV. And the numbers show that. So that's what it's about. Clicks, shares, likes. How many eyes are watching it live right now? Literally, as I speak, that's what's happening right now. How many eyes are watching it live now? Now, I'm not telling anyone to go out there and find out for yourself. I'm telling you that what they're saying to you, always use comprehension, always use your brain and really diagnose what's in front of you, not what they're feeding you. It's different, man. They'll tell you whatever it is they need to tell you in order to get whatever it is they're after. And that's just the way it works. It's worked like that for a long time. I think it's more evident now and in the forefront of people exposing it nowadays. So they could tell you monster category 5 hurricane. And instead of, this is the other thing they could have done. Hear me clearly. Instead of saying that, right? You could say that was so when it was in that little I call it the Gulf of Mexico bowl. That's kind of like in there where Mexico is and it connects to South America. When it was over there, that made sense, to say that because that's what it was over there, over 600 miles away from us. And I think it could be more, um, where it was categorized correctly as monster hurricane, category 5 monster hurricane, however it was they put it, but those were the terms they chose to use, which scare a lot of people, and it really gets people going in the wrong direction. Now, that is something that as it progresses, you continuously watch it to see what the development is, literally hour to hour, maybe every 2 or 3 hours, and you see the development. Now, when you have something like that, you also have to pay attention to what's for your area so you don't lose your mind. Matter of fact, what's coming to me right now is Second Timothy in the Bible, chapter 1, verse 7. Go look it up and check me if I'm wrong. But God didn't give us a spirit of fear, right? But of power, love, and a sound mind. I think I got that right. Go ahead and check me if you like and put it in the comment section, you know. But I want to focus on the power part of it, and the sound mind part of it, because it looks like many people, even when I was, I stopped at the gas station up here when I was back in Sanford, Lake Mary area just a few ago. I'm telling you that people lose their minds. Now, Second Timothy 1:7, right? Chapter 1, verse 7 tells us the power part, right? The sound mind part. Don't lose your mind over what these people are now feeding you, and then you start to go out here and have certain actions, right? And reactions to people, and get yourself in trouble, and have all types of issues with all kinds of people, because everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off. In the store, in the gas stations, just society for this little brief moment, these past 3 days, 2 days, whatever it was, people are losing their minds up until the very moments that I was out there, and I'm still out here, and what I see is that it's I understand. Let me make this clear again. If anyone else, I'm using my other the back camera because the front is messed up. But if anyone's in here, I'm telling you right now, or you'll see it later when I post it. I'm telling you right now that I know what they categorized it and what they named it, how they described it before ever coming anywhere near, and I'm talking about over 600 miles away, anywhere near Florida land, the coast, right? That's the West. If you're inland, this is a whole different story for you, right? The projections never said it would stay as a 5, but they didn't bring that up. And that's actually what I'm personally upset about, because a lot of these people in the media, they'll say that they know it, but they know if they tell you that information, you're not going to be watching them as much. And they could have been better with it. They could have been more real with it by saying, it's a this is how I would have said it. And this is definitely how a professional meteorologist, a professional individual in that field could have said it. If I could say it like that, they definitely could say it like this. They could have easily said, hey guys, it's a monster, however they're going to word it, but something more or less like this. It's a monster category 5 hurricane right now, but it's in the West Gulf Coast right now. And the projections are showing that as it gets closer, it's going to decrease, and it's going to get down to a 4. And guess what, guys? It actually hit as a 3. It made landfall as a 3. So it was decreasing, but they wouldn't emphasize on that. And that's what bothered me. And that's what created a lot of issues with a lot of people, including even at the gas station. I stopped at multiple gas stations, and I saw multiple different circumstances and situations with people, even over food. And this was at Wawa's and 7-Elevens, and I don't think it was a Citgo. I think it was like a um Circle K. Anyway, I stopped at a few, and there's so many situations, man. Even situations myself that I could show you over text messages that also um were created as, like these back and forth issues, because people misread things, people lack comprehension, or have low levels of comprehension, and they don't see it how others who may have higher levels of comprehension and can really see and discern what's in front of them, right? And see through it. It creates issues with people that you even just have a conversation with or talk to, and now you have problems with people who you're talking to, because people are buying into the man, I really hate to say the media's deception, but really, I guess I could say they're buying into the media's poorly delivered, that's better said, the media's poorly delivered message with the reports that they were giving. Now, yes, sometimes you're supposed to really read between the lines, and I believe that's definitely something that should have happened here, with what's happening even right now. We're inland, right? And driving down, for those of you that are just tuning in, if anybody else news coming in, driving from Sanford, where I was, Lake Mary area up there, and seeing some of the stuff from the highway to the regular roads, and then driving back down, heading towards Orlando, Lake Nona area, I'm experiencing all those different towns, and I'm experiencing all these other situations, and I cannot say that it is anything less than me comparing it to a thunderstorm right now. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, well, it just hasn't come. Yeah, and you know what? When it gets, for those of you thinking like that, when it gets closer, it's actually going to be less. So bear with me here because I've thought this through. I have, I believe, personally speaking, I comprehended what I was seeing as I monitored it literally hour by hour, man. Too much, to be honest. Um, but I comprehended it. I noticed where it was changing and what they were saying different, and I just believe I got it right. And I have a post to back this. I have receipts. I have things that are time stamped that you can go check on my page, and you'll see that was my prediction. I even put it in blue because I wanted it to stand out, and I wanted people to see that, man, sometimes this is just overly hyped. And I know we have to be safe. We have to be careful when it comes to natural disasters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that because people twist things, and some people lack high levels of comprehension, so they have low levels of comprehension or no comprehension at all. Hear me say this and then take it the wrong way. I'm just trying to call out the falseness in the media. Because at the end of the day, look, man, I even wrote something in the comment section for West 2 News, which is one of the popular ones that I listen to around here. And as I'm literally driving by a little earlier, um the news station that I'm listening to, and I felt like stopping by at the door and knocking on there and just saying, man, you guys need to get it right. Because right now you're I don't know if that'd be considered fear mongering, but you're scaring people to another degree that's not necessary. You shouldn't be scaring them. You should be giving them the facts. You should be giving them what it is right now, in the moment. You know, and if what you're bringing, if what you're going to be giving in the moment is the hurricane out at sea and what's happening with it, okay, great, which is what they did. Then from there, as it gets closer, matter of fact, even let me backtrack. Hold on. Even while it's out there in the ocean and they're giving you the facts about it, they should follow it up in the same breath, literally right after giving you the facts about it, of what it's doing and how it's being monitored out there in the ocean at the moment. Right after saying that, they should follow it up by saying, and guys, as it continues, this is what's projected going forward. And they should have, this is the key here that I'm trying to emphasize on, they should have emphasized on it more, if at all, because I noticed that a lot, a lot of times they did not, from what I was watching. And I saved all of them in folders so I can always go back and check, but I'm pretty sure they did not emphasize for inland and specifically say words like this. Guys, it is this over here in the ocean, but as it goes inland, you're not going to be dealing with this monster category 5, life threatening, everybody's going to die kind of hurricane. And they didn't emphasize on that. And because they didn't emphasize on that, that's why I'm bothered by it. And that's why I wanted to share this, because other things took place, even in my text messages with other people, where I'm like, man, people really think they know when their comprehension skills are so low. And that's the thing. I'm not trying to mock nobody. I just get so fed up when people really give into the fear mongering, if you could call it that, when they give into the media's push to get you to view their stuff because they want to, oh, we got the story first. That's what they want to go by. And that's what media does, especially the news. That's what they do. Me being someone who comes from this background and has been around all kinds of stuff and heard all kinds of stuff, I'm telling you, this is what these people do. And to now be on a spectator on the outside, now I see where they're incorrect. Now I see where the issues are. Now I see where they're lacking. And when I make these videos like this is because, yes, I want to vent out the truth. It could be venting, but it is me venting the truth. And especially for the morons out there, and I'm sorry to say like that, but hey, that's not a, is that a foul term? It's not. Is that foul language? Is that corrupt speech? No, it's not. Moron is not. Matter of fact, I believe even in the Bible, they use the word stupid in some translations. And if you go look back to the King James, there's other things where, certain individuals, yes, are called stupid or moronic, if I'm not mistaken. So, but I know it's one of those two terms and it's there. So yes, I could use that word. I think a lot of morons out there give into it. And then why I say this so intensely is because they'll fight with you about it. They'll fight with you about it when your eyes are looking at the same thing their eyes are looking at. And yes, we may not see the same thing. And that's the problem, because when one person's right, they're right. And when they're trying to explain it to other people who may be those morons, at the end of the day, they won't hear it. They don't want to hear it. And then when everything plays out, the morons won't even at least say, hey, I was wrong. right? Because they're too prideful, man. They're too prideful. They weren't out here at the gas station seeing what I was seeing. They weren't out here driving to the next uh gas station that was next to a McDonald's and the one that was next to the Wawa. And you see people going through the motions, I guess I could call it, and arguing and fighting, and when push comes to shove for food. And why does it get to that? Because the media. That's what this whole video is about. The media and morons. Matter of fact, I may go back and change and edit the title of this. I just put, driving through Hurricane Milton weather, because that's what I'm doing right now. But I can tell you right now is that, sorry, talking so much, I need a sip of water here in a second. But and I get hyped because I get hyped when it comes to the truth. I can't sit here and just be quiet when it comes to the truth. So yes, I titled the video "Driving Through Hurricane Milton Weather" because that's what I'm doing. But everything that I'm seeing is people getting deceived, people being put in bad situations, as I saw firsthand at these gas stations, at the food places, and in a different side of town, going through different towns, bro. I'm seeing the same thing that the media is causing. I don't want to say pandemonium, but definitely causing people to act out of their character and behave wildly in some situations, even at the gas pump over there, which, by the way, they're fighting over diesel. And I'm like, man, this is for trucks and stuff. I can't even get gas here, and the fights weren't with me. But as I'm observing this wild stuff, especially for food, specifically at the Wawa, I could tell you that it is caused by the media. And when people lack comprehension, when people are not reading these diagrams correctly, when people are not looking at the cone, and then they'll just like maybe see it, I guess. This is not what I do, but this is what definitely a lot of other people do. They'll look at the media, they'll look at a screenshot, they'll look at a post, they'll listen to whoever other morons they're listening to, and then from there, they'll just run with that. They won't there's no time for comprehension for individuals like this, and that sucks because it creates all types of problems. It stirs up all types of problems. And then I got to see it firsthand when I was pulled over at these different gas stations. I went to over five. Honestly, it was probably approximately at least 10 to 11 gas stations across the board, going down from Sanford, Lake Merritt area, going down and then stopping in different places. From getting off the highway to going through back roads, going to local gas stations, to then like the other ones that are like off the highway, and just seeing in different cities, different oh geez, not cultures, seeing it in different sides of town. There's different kinds of people in different types of places, and yet it all looked the same. Because when they're deceived by the media and they're just going by things that they read incorrectly, that they're not comprehending correctly, that they're just running with without understanding. And yes, a big fault of this is to the meteorologists and the news reporters who are, I'm not going to say reading this wrongly, but expressing it and delivering it not in the best way. That's how nice I can word it for now, because man, there's other words I can't use. And it sucks that the media is willing to do that over clicks, views, shares, likes. Come see us. We have the news story first. That is how they work. And again, take this from someone who has worked closely in this industry, has been around these things, has seen these things, has heard these things, who used to report on these things. I wasn't a meteorologist, but I used to report on these things. And I'm telling you, being around people who were meteorologists, being around people who were news anchors, being around people in some of these news stations, I'm telling you, man, these people can express it better, because they're in the news station right now that I drove by, and they're not actually in the gas stations that I was at, right? They're not actually in sorry, I'm checking out here. The phone's kind of overheating. I might have to go here in a second. It's already been about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. But I can tell you right now, those people are locked away in the news station, feeding the community these things and wording it a certain way and causing these things while they're locked away in the news station doing right their job. But they're not at the gas stations. They're not at some of the places that were open just a little while ago, witnessing these things take place by the media people's words. It was all words and how they emphasize and express things. I'm telling you, they didn't have to say, sorry, let me word this correctly. It's hitting me right now. When the Hurricane Milton was out in what I call the bowl over there by that little bowl circle area by Mexico and where it connects to South America. Um, they didn't just have to only say this. It is a monstrous Category 5 hurricane, and the way they chose to word it, instead of emphasizing that when it gets to you, these are the projections, and emphasizing, hear me clearly, emphasizing on what it can be when it gets to you and emphasizing on that, on specific areas, it wouldn't cause some of the things I was watching at these gas stations and at these food places around the gas stations and all the stops that I made. If the media would have not, I would say, fear mongered the people, and all this because of a poor choice of words, lack of emphasis on the things they should have emphasized on. But of course, for clicks, views, and everything that they want to get out of this, they will just emphasize on monster Category 5. I saw some put monstrous Category 5 hurricane. And that alone right there causes people to do crazier things than even what I was seeing of people fighting, arguing, threatening each other, all this stuff at gas stations over gas that, by the way, I didn't even get gas. And I didn't see, there was water and stuff. I didn't see anybody fighting for that. But being in the line, rushing, right? Because that's what it's about. Is they're in the line, they're trying to rush. Like, I gotta get back to my family. Like nobody else got a family. But again, I understand that the words of the news is what gets people to that level. They get hyped to that level. A lack of emphasis from the news gets people to start to get mixed in their emotions, then make choices that are very stupid, not just in those situations, but when it comes to taking cover, being in certain places instead of others. And I'm telling you right now that, sorry guys, I dropped you there, but being in certain places instead of others that would be better or make more sense. It really causes people to make dumb decisions when they could have made better decisions if they were informed correctly on the information at hand. And honestly, it's on the people too. You can't sit there and just hide behind that and say you're a dummy. Oh well, I don't understand English. Like I'm just being sarcastic with that, but I don't understand what they're telling me. It's their job to report it. Absolutely, it's their job to report it, but it's also you to how you perceive it, for you to ingest it, how you comprehend it, and you can't be acting like these fools out here, and you can't be making poor choices to go to certain places, depending on what the media said and what they lacked on emphasizing on. And it just sucks, man. I'm gonna get off this live. It just sucks. I had to vent that out. If anybody's on the coast that's watching this, be safe. That's where the danger is. Over here, as I predicted, the receipts are there. You can go on my page and check it out. As this develops in the inland, for the Orlando areas, more Central Florida, but mainly I'm talking about Orlando because that's where I'm headed, and also any of the surrounding areas around there. I'm gonna have to stick with the prediction I had. I said a high, or sorry, a low Category 3, high Category 2. Last I checked, about 25 minutes ago or so. The last thing from Wesh, which was the news station that I passed earlier, I could tell you right now that they said it would then start to become a 1 shortly after going through the Orlando area, which was deemed to be the safer place to be. But again, low levels of comprehension from certain people. Sorry to have to mention it, but the truth's the truth, and I got to speak it regardless of how people feel. And I can tell you right now that a lot of the other things, going back to the gas stations and the food places by the gas stations where I was at, and many stops that I made, which was definitely over 10 stops, I can tell you from the things I saw, that's due to the media. That's due to poor comprehension skills. That's due to just listening to other people who have other, issues and also poor comprehension skills. You know, and then you get yourself in trouble. You get yourself in problems. You get yourself, in a bad situations with an S, because I'm sure other things happened when I left. But I can tell you right now, those gas stations were nothing pretty. This was literally just about, I want to say, yeah, about 20 minutes ago or so. From those gas stations and the surrounding little places that were open, like McDonald's and But mainly at the gas station, at the Wawa, and the 7-Eleven I went to as well. And when I went in, I just stopped, used the bathroom, and then I see people again arguing. The whole line situation, just to keep it brief, the whole food situation, who's getting their food, who's not. I was surprised they weren't even fighting over the cases of water that were there, you know? But again, this is all stirred up. The whole primary thing of this video, it's all stirred up because I'm out here. The wind is going like any regular thunderstorm, and yes, I am aware that the eye, or the closer sections to the eye of the hurricane, has not hit inland, right? More towards the central section of Florida, hasn't hit that yet. Just about 30 minutes ago, it touched down on soil, on Floridian soil on the coast, somewhere by Siesta Key, which is one of the beaches I love. I'm very familiar with that area. I could see that there could be a lot of destruction in that area, and how that, would be devastating. Even a 3 over there, right? And when it touched down, it was a 4. But as soon as it touched down, a few minutes later, it went down to a 3. So when you see that, you start to really think, man, that the media, again, told you the truth. They told you the truth about saying it was a monstrous hurricane, Milton, when it was out at sea over 600 miles away from the coast of Florida. They weren't lying about that. And really, we're just trusting them. So I don't want to get into that. But the point is, if it's going to be true, it was true then. It was true when it was in the bowl over there by Mexico. And that's over 600 miles away when they were reporting it as a monster hurricane category 5. Over there, over 600 miles away. Then it got closer, then it turned into a 4. And then eventually it hit the coast. And then a few minutes later, it turned into a few minutes. Because it hit land and it started to go over the land over there by Siesta Key. Then it downgraded to a high 3, I think, mid to high 3. And then now as it proceeds, which it increased in miles per hour to 15 miles per hour as of, I want to say 30 minutes ago. And 15 miles an hour as it's moving. Now, the wind gusts and all that, that's obviously a lot stronger. But it's moving at 15 miles an hour, which means it'll get through faster, cutting through the state, which means as it takes on more landfall from what they were saying, I'm just repeating what they said about 30 minutes ago approximately, it will slow down even faster and less than a 3. So going back to the prediction I said yesterday, a low level 3, high category 2 possibly. And then another model came out, which can be very accurate, just as it's going over this area where I'm heading to, which is Orlando, Lake Nona area, and just Orlando as a whole, because that's what they were saying, and in the surrounding areas here, it would then go down to a 1, which would be like a tropical storm with higher winds that won't even reach 70 miles per hour. And all these buildings, in modern day buildings, especially in new areas, are all what's called hurricane proof. Newer technology, even the news said this. I had to look this up on my own because I wanted to do my own research really briefly. And then it's hurricane proof. Look, they're not going to build buildings for you that are going to be higher than 10 feet and not be hurricane proof in a hurricane prone state. This is illegal. They cannot do this. They have to be up to code. So I understand that I'm going off on another tangent there for something else, but that's just something else that I had to go through a little earlier. That, man, I wish I could just reveal the text messages on that one, because that was a doozy. Like this other influencer I watch says, I love when he says that. That was a doozy. Matter of fact, I'm using the word because for the first time in my life, I could feel like I was in a situation that was a doozy. And that was a text message going back and forth about hurricane, garbage and just a bunch of stuff on how people lack comprehension and don't know what they're talking about, and they just run with whatever the people that they're trusting in, and the media, and the lack of emphasis, and maybe other moronic people in their lives that they're trusting in instead of comprehending it for themselves. They're led by like little dogs on leashes. But anyway, not trying to get too harsh with it, but the truth is the truth, and I got to speak it regardless of whoever gets offended. So at the end of the day, look, man, the media, especially, I thought this very deeply when I was passing by on the highway, passing the news station. I look to my left and I see the news station, and I'm like, man, they're locked in there. and they're saying all this craziness, and they're projecting it out on these outlets to all these people, but they ain't out here at the gas stations like I was, over 10 gas stations. They ain't out here looking at the food places and people, fighting against each other in different ways, all because of a line, all because of food, all because of gas, all this stuff. And this was just about 30 minutes ago, man. 20, 30, something like that. And you have to hold the news media accountable for what they say, and then they can fall back on the half lies, half truths, white lies. Well, we did warn people. It was a category 5. Yeah, but they didn't tell you guys that it was a monster, what they labeled it. I want to use their exact words. All right, I want to quote them, not me making stuff up. I want to quote them. It was a monster category 5. Yes, that is true. Out there, over 600 miles away. They should have emphasized by words, not just the model and the projection of the diagrams that you can see visually, because people lack common sense, lack comprehension, and have low levels of comprehension skills for some of us. And I'm telling you right now, they could have emphasized by words the same way they emphasized by words monster category 5 that really made people poop their pants. They could have emphasized also saying that, right after saying that, they could have emphasized as well with words, guys, when it gets inland, this right here is what you'll experience. You are not, and I repeat, you are not going to experience this monstrous category 5 that's going to kill all of us. You're not going to experience that. Now that's for the coast. Get out of there quickly. And they didn't even, I want to say that so bad because the truth is so true. And this is just piercing right now. Even the coast did not, hear me clearly, did not experience category 5. They experienced a low 4 that then within minutes, this was reported about 30 minutes, 20 minutes ago, within minutes of touching ground by Siesta Key, Florida, which, like I said, I'm very familiar with it. It will be flooded. It will be a disaster zone. Yes, over there, it touched at a 4, not a 5. And it was a low, it progressively went to a low 4. And then it was a high 3 within minutes. And that's the part that they didn't emphasize on. So it had people scared and anxious and worried. And back to, I want to bring this up. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. If I'm correct, go ahead and check me, copy and paste it in the comment section. It tells us that God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So let's go ahead and stick with that. Those two last ones of that. Power. He gave us a spirit of power and of a sound mind. A sound mind, guys. Not of fear, not of anxiety, not of anything else. But so many people, I saw it, I witnessed it, I've been watching it. About 30 minutes ago, approximately 25 minutes ago now, 30, something like that, I saw it. I saw it at the gas stations, man. I went to over 10 gas stations. For those of you that are just coming in now, I went to different food places that I had to drive by and see the lines and how people are arguing and how people are cursing each other out and how people are just trying to rush as if they're the only ones that need to be saved. But guess what? I understand there's a disaster, but God's in control. And how many of us actually believe that? I put a post up about a day or two ago that's saying, man, some people just don't really, it was something along these lines. Some people really just don't get it. They'll say they trust. They'll say it's the faith they have in the God that they believe in until the problems show up, until the circumstances show up, until the hurricane shows up, until all these bad things show up. Then people lose that. They lose their mind, and all of a sudden the same faith they were claiming before the circumstances came, they ain't claiming that no more. Because it was false, bro. Brothers and sisters, it was false. They lie. People, man, something else in the Bible's coming to me right now. And I'm going to see how I can apply this, but it's just hitting me right now. It applies to something else completely different, but you can use the principle of it. God says that he knows that people love him with their lips, but their hearts are far from him. Let's focus on the lips part. It's called lip service, people. People will say they trust him. People will say they love him. People will say that they have faith in him. And my trust is in God. And they'll make all kinds of cute posts. And they'll put up Jesus depictions, pictures and things that depict Jesus with his hands holding Florida. These people don't believe that. Let me correct myself. Far too many people don't believe that, man. It just sounds cute. It just sounds like something to say. It just sounds encouragement. It sounds encouraging. It sounds like encouragement. It sounds like inspiration. It sounds like what I need to hear. Guess what? It's none of those things if you're actually not doing it. It's none of those things if you're not actually going to believe it and live it out by actions. Brothers and sisters, it is about actions. It's not about what people say. So going back to 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, if I'm not mistaken, someone copy and pasted and put it in the chat. He gave us not a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Power and a sound mind is what I'm completely just going back to reiterate and use here and remind you, don't lose that because of this hurricane and the weather and what the people, again, the point of this video, what the people at the news station messed up on, what they dropped the ball on. They didn't clarify. They didn't emphasize. They didn't tell people what they should have said after saying monstrous category 5 hurricane that then led to much more than what I saw at the gas stations just approximately 30 minutes ago or so, between 20 and 30 minutes ago. It led to bad things and bad situations for people because they're reacting by what the news failed to deliver correctly by their words. And we have to hold that accountable. I went in the comment section and I had to share truth. So I copied and pasted some things there, and I will be doing that to other news outlets because they do see it, and other people up on the wagon and they hit like and they share it and they share it and they share it until these people see it, because they cannot be not held accountable for this. I saw it out here. They're in the news station, and most of y'all probably locked up inside. Great. If you're in the bad areas, for sure, I get you. And I understand. But these people weren't out there. They're out there saying all that, manipulating, and again, trying to get the clicks, views, and hey, we got the story first, and we got the story, so come with us, sit here with us, hear what we have to say. And of course, that's what the news is for. We're supposed to be fed something, but fed something correctly, the right way, and definitely not in a fear-mongering way. That's what this is about, man. And it sucks because it's come down to clicks, views, likes, shares, and just how many people are watching live, because I was watching it even as I earlier as I went through their YouTube channel thing. When you click on the little thing, it has the little sections for videos and live stream and all that. And I'm watching it and I'm seeing it and I'm like, this still for these people is about numbers. That's what it's about. It's about numbers. Instead of giving people, again, they gave what I would call, I don't even know if I could call that a half truth. They left out the truth. They gave some truth, but they didn't give you the whole truth. Because you would have to keep, if you got it one time, right? One time, bam, whatever. I was thinking of some, sorry, I had two thoughts in my head, and I was thinking about, one bam Sam, whatever, something I had, used in the past. But the point is, if they gave it to you all in one take, it wouldn't even matter for you to come back, because you received what you needed to receive from the news station right away, right there, boom. And you wouldn't come back. They need you to come back. So that's another part of it. That's just, in part to what I'm saying with everything else I said before in the video. If you're just tuning in now, just go back, pull the little red marker bar thing all the way to the back and hear the video. I started talking like within a minute of when it started because I had some camera issues and some flash issues and whatever, and the phone's heating up and all that. So I'm telling you right now, go back